Hey guys, Artie here, and today I'll be listing the top 10 reasons why the G4TV revival did not live up to expectations and was a major flop. Many of the reasons being due to mismanagement and failing to adapt to a modern day audience. Onto the list. First off, it didn't need to come back. It's a relic of the past that should have lived on in our memories. G4 should have stayed in the 2000s in the days of the early internet, classic YouTube poops, and the rise of online gaming. Besides, most people don't watch cable TV anymore really and just use YouTube, Twitch, or streaming platforms like Netflix or HBO Max. Almost more than half of the people in the United States ditched cable for several factors, such as the absurd costs like really expensive, and scummy business tactics. Why cable is dying is a topic for another day in a potential upcoming video, because I'm really interested on that topic. The second reason is it's easier to watch game content and news on YouTube and Twitch. G4 did have channels on those platforms, but they failed to adapt. They should have covered all video games, new and old, and made interesting reviews with some humor and relatable moments thrown in to make it more real down to earth. Instead of just being bland and stale and telling us straight facts that we already knew from the start, and we can just easily find them on Google. The third reason is, similarly to the previous topic, the hosts were out of touch and modern audiences couldn't relate to them, and not all the old hosts that were actually good returned. Not to mention the branding and the whole atmosphere was sterile, just like every other gaming news outlet. They are also too political, just like every news outlet. This is G4TV, television for gamers, not CNN or Fox News. If I wanted a dose of run-of-the-mill news and politics, I would tune into a news channel, which I don't. Other than that tangent, the hosts were just unfunny and not interesting in the slightest, and we didn't get to see most of the older hosts that we actually liked. You know what? I don't blame them. G4 went down the drain during the revival, and G4 was better left the way it was before. The fourth reason, it was just too woke. The political messages were shoved into the audience's faces, and most of the shows are supposed to be about video games in the entertainment industries, like television and movies, not politics. They shouldn't have used it to peddle the current message in society, which we see enough already. Too much. You know what? It was mainly Frost's fault. She also fed the trolls about her insecurities, fueling the fire even more and making G4 into a joke. Instead of yelling at viewers for them thinking she wasn't as hot as the previous host. Honestly, that's really funny. She should have either not said anything at all about it or embraced it in order to seem more likable to the viewers. They even banned words such as woke in their Twitch chat. Also, the channel was run by NBC Universal, a left-leaning company, and they own like NBC News, MSNBC, CNBC. Yeah. Fifth reason, there was no web animated content such as Code Monkeys and Happy Tree Friends. Having cartoons on G4 really makes it feel like a real network and stand out in its competition such as FXX and Adult Swim. But they overlooked animation unfortunately, and it was a huge missed opportunity. It would have been cool seeing the Gorefest web series Happy Tree Friends back on G4 TV again. I'm guessing they didn't air it either because they didn't have the license or the rights, or they were just lazy. G4 isn't just about games, it's about the internet culture and the web animation, a genre that has been becoming increasingly popular over the years that would have served well in G4, like G4 pioneered web animation back in the day. Reason number 6, bringing back G4 would have worked better as a programming block on a channel like Sci-Fi, since they were both owned by NBC Universal, so it would have made sense to have G4 air during the overnight hours of Sci-Fi. Similarly to their defunct TZGZ block, which was semi-successful. I liked it to be honest, but it's gone now, unfortunately. Now that I think of it, TZGZ and G4 were similar in some ways. Both focus on internet content and science fiction. TZGZ even aired Cyanide and Happiness of all things. And not to mention, the run on Sci-Fi frequently aired Futurama reruns, which fit surprisingly well. TZGZ is really a mouthful. Also, reason number 7, they didn't turn to enough YouTube or online creators for web programming to air on G4. They only aired Scott the Woz for a series. Channels such as Angry Video Game Nerd, Mondo Media, Nostalgic Critic, Game Theory, and Stampy Longhead. They could have turned to those creators. It would have been awesome seeing Stampy's Lovely World on G4 TV, or Cinemassacre. Really, the list goes on. It would have had near infinite potential. I see why they wanted to air episodes of Scott the Woz, as the videos itself on YouTube were newer and in a similar format to television episodes. Like, if you go to his channel, they're like all formatted in like seasons, and they're like around 22 minutes. So the content was suitable for TV. And the words were even censored, so they didn't really have to do any work in post-production, or to syndicate or format it to television. However, it would have been awesome seeing the Angry Video Game Nerd on TV for the first time ever, but that would require some censorship. He loves to throw cluster F-bombs. 8th reason, the programming and shows. They only brought back Attack of the Show and X-Play, and while boosted to a small extent, didn't even bother introducing any new original content other than reboots of older shows, and missed the chance to bring back Arena and even Web Soup, which would have worked well in the current media landscape. I can understand them not bringing back cheat because video games nowadays only care about profit and microtransactions such as GTA Online and mobile games. So cheat codes aren't really in video games anymore unless you use mod menus or glitches, which is unfortunately frowned upon because people are Karens. I wish cheats would make a resurgence like how popular it was in 2000s, you know, like Game Genie, well that was in the 80s, there was Game Shark and Action Replay, yeah. You know what they say? If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Well, I'm just kidding about that. They were too cheap to get syndication licenses to borrow shows from other networks as filler programming, you know, like daytime schedules, nobody ever watches them, but they have to exist. The original G4 only survived in its later years by airing reruns of Cheaters and Cops. At first, in November 2021, they aired reruns and marathons of the original Japanese Ninja Warrior, which was awesome. Which was good, but there should be more things to watch than just Ninja Warrior. Even outside of syndicated programming, there wasn't too much programming in general to sustain G4. They should have aired more of their archival programming, like the old episodes of Attack the Show. I don't see what's so hard about all networks, not just G4 in general, airing their older programming. They treat it like a dark past when, in fact, everyone loves it, like Cartoon Network avoids it, Nickelodeon avoids it, Disney, AMC, FX, every channel, they don't like their older content, they will only push new stuff. Number 9. Just like the point I made about it being too political and out of touch, the revival felt too corporate and robotic. It was monotone like this. Instead of making genuine content relating to gaming, entertainment, technology, and the internet, they half-assed it and focused on profit and corporate plans, including the political preaching that ended up failing. When the revival first launched, they did an alright job at first by only using nostalgia to reel in viewers, but couldn't capture new audiences. After G4 died again, they tried blaming it on sexism, of all things, and pointing the fingers at the viewers, when in reality, it was all their own fault. They should have strived for quality content and hooking in a consistent and new audience in order to succeed. The faithful and reliable quality over quantity. Always quality over quantity. And the 10th and final reason why bringing back G4 failed was that there was very little promotion when the channel was brought back in 2021 and 2022. When it was put on cable and satellite providers, it was placed on ridiculously high channel numbers, in the thousands, so no one would ever spot it and check it out. The only reason why I found out G4 came back was through rumors back in 2020, and because I was a fan of the original incarnation of G4 from the late 2000s, early 2010s. Potential audiences that were interested in gaming content in a cable channel format were unaware, and by the time it was actually being promoted, it was too late as their reputation was tarnished from that political stunt they did by blaming their lackluster ratings and criticism on the sexism thing, and then force-feeding the audience political messages. There wasn't much promotion or advertisement for any of their shows either. No commercials on other networks or on YouTube, also barely even any ads online, so how were people even going to know they were airing new episodes of shows? No wonder the ratings ended up being trash and almost dead last out of every cable channel according to Nielsen rating statistics. Hell, even Fuse in the Pursuit channel got several more times the viewers than G4. G4 only had roughly 1,000 viewers, on average, nowhere even close to sustaining a basic cable channel. It was abysmal. For comparison, most major networks during primetime reel in around 1 million viewers or more. And that, my friends, is all the reasons why the concept of reviving G4TV works on paper, but actually executing the concept fails. It could be done right, but it is difficult in today's media climate. Most people just do everything using the internet. It's faster, more convenient, and has more utilization than linear TV channels. G4 didn't even last long enough to be expanded to different countries. However, the original era of G4 in the 2000s and 2010s was only available in America, Canada, and Barbados, but never made it to any further countries, unfortunately. Never reached Asia or Europe or Latin America, not even Tech TV or ZD-TV in the 90s did. Without a doubt, G4 will not be returning for a third run. All their online social medias have been inactive since October and November of 2022. Around the same time, their linear channel was also discontinued again. Even if it does return, it will probably be a section of some streaming service like Peacock, which is owned by NBC, or a revamped YouTube page. Even if they wanted to bring back the G4 brand again, it would only work as a general entertainment network akin to how Sci-Fi or Adult Swim is, or FXX. It's also a good channel. Some things are just better off preserved in its positive and renowned legacy, which is also what I thought about the revival of Vine. There was like a rumor about that a little while ago, so I don't think it's coming back. That's all I have to say about G4 today. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, and notify. Maybe next time I'll talk about why cable TV eventually failed.